Hey YouTube, Brian with Renegade Trucking here, and I just wanted to do a week 3 recap. So this is week 2 on the range, week 3 overall at Suncoast Trucking Academy, and yeah, so we started off the week. We still had some people who's actually all the way through almost to the end of the week, still trying to figure out how to shift the truck. So we had that going on. We finally got into alley docking. So like I said, our class was a bit behind, although I don't think that normally you get into alley docking until the final week, but until this week. We had just barely started offset. Actually, only 2 of us had started offset backing on that previous Friday. So so we started off still doing pre-trip every morning. By this time, some of us were doing it, without our packet, and then some of us were still doing it with the packet. This is the last week that you're allowed to use the packet, so you want to be prepared for that, because your final week you need to not be using the packet because you're only a week away from testing. Start off with pre-trip inspection. And then we'd get into, then we started doing the alley docking, and that was going all right. I thought I was kind of picking it up, but I'll get into that a little bit more later. Then in the afternoon, we went out and, we had already started the road driving, and so we're still going to the cow pasture for people who were still working on their shifting. And then we take off from there and go out on the road for those of us who were ready for the road. Next day, pretty much the same exact thing, except this day, because the range was full, we went out on the road first and got another person upgraded to going on the road from the cow pasture, and came back, practiced some more alley docking. That was the day that I hit it perfect on my first dock back from lunch, and then after that, just went out from there. Next day, same exact stuff, although one of the days we did get an opportunity to offset back to the left and one to offset back to the right. Then much of the same, just alley dock practice, and obviously pre-trip every single day. Pre-trip is the first thing that you do. Then it was some alley dock backing practice and going out on the road. On Thursday, I was particularly growing concerned because I still was not getting the alley docking. Every day I was learning something new, something else to focus on. And but I felt like I was actually getting farther and farther away from understanding it. I would have a new thing to focus on, to understand, to watch, to make sure that I get into the right position and everything. But I was still having some issues, and I'll get into that on the Friday wrap up. So Thursday I was really kind of growing concerned. On Thursday, started getting out on the road. I'd been progressively given, because I was like a day or 2 ahead of what everyone else was doing on the road, and so I'd start getting more and more difficult turns to navigate that were tighter, and some of them I didn't fully go over correctly. I would hit the touch a curb or a white line or something on these really tight ones. I'm fine on any of the wide turns and everything now. I'm making sure that I'm taking all my space and all that kind of stuff. But for some of these other ones, I'm just not. It's very, very tight, and I wasn't aware that I was allowed to let the main focus is on the trailer, and really I guess what it is, and I have to get clarification on this, but from what it sounds like is, if the curb doesn't have a sidewalk or a bike lane, it's okay to go on it, try to avoid it, but if you need to make the turn, to avoid going on one of the curbs that has a bike lane or a sidewalk, which, you know, if you're familiar with Southwest Florida, everywhere there's a bike lane. So so I guess the main focus is on not touching like the turn that has the bike lane. If you're, you know, like if it's a right-hand turn, if the front left median area is just a median area, that's not a, you know, you can have your steer tire touching or, you know, going slightly up and over that curb to make sure that your trailer is not going to touch the curb that has a sidewalk. So, or bike lane or whatever. So it seems like that's the case. I thought that, you know, you weren't allowed to touch on either end because like the Focus was damage or whatever, but, you know, like damage to the wheels or the, yeah, like the, you know, the rims. And, but, that doesn't appear to be the case because on one of the ways back to the school, which you may take on your test, you, in order to make the turn, you have to touch the inner median because the truck just won't make it otherwise. And so, you know, on that one, I was trying to, you know, get as close to that median without touching it, and the instructor's telling me I need to get on it, but I'm thinking like, oh, you know, I can't touch any of the curbs, but that wasn't the case. So that's just something, you know, got to get some clarification. But on Thursday, I actually got to go up on the interstate, so that was pretty cool. There was a slow car in front of me. You know, I was only going from exit 164 to 161, but there's a slow car in front of me, so I didn't get to get up to full highway speed or anything like that. Same thing the next day. We only got, well, the first day the slow car was going like 60 and there just wasn't enough time or space or anything to pass. And I don't even know if we're allowed to pass in training. But anyways, then the next day I was behind like a dump truck or something like that. And so that day I got up to like 65. And then the other students also on Friday were up on the interstate as well. But yeah, the railroad stop, I have that under control. I got to practice that quite a few times. And then the stop-start procedure on the side of the road, got that good to go. So, and pre-trip, everything's great there. So as far as all that's going, that's all fine. Obviously, straight backing is not really that difficult, and you're doing that on every single other backing maneuver that you're doing anyways. On Friday, we actually had a, oh, that was Wednesday and Thursday that I was up on the interstate, because on Friday we didn't have any road driving for whatever reason. We got out a few hours early on Friday. I'm not sure why, but we did. We went to lunch at the normal time, and then we came back and we only had 1 hour after lunch, which normally I would have been pretty upset about getting cut on some of the time, especially with how concerned I was about this alley dock backing. But what ended up happening was I spoke with the instructor. He let me know that he likes to know how a student can learn best, and you know, I told him that I'm very analytical and I need to understand, like on the previous day he was telling me what moves to make while I was backing to get me in to the stall, and it just simply, you know, that doesn't really help me to understand it. I need to understand the how and the why, you know, of what I'm doing. And so I asked him to go ahead and stand there beside me, but I was going to stop every couple of feet and say what I thought was the correct move, and then he would either tell me if that was correct, or if not, then we need to talk about why that is and how to determine, you know, what the correct move would be, what I'm not seeing. And so that worked out excellent. He gave me a ton of new reference points, a ton of new things to look at, and it helped me to understand the curve of the trailer, because this You know, when you look up a lot of YouTube videos and stuff, they basically have you coming in at an angle or jackknifing into the alley dock thing. But this school teaches to do like a smooth, continuous curve. And so I was just having a lot of issues trying to visualize that and how the trailer is going to react and everything like that. And so he pointed out a lot of great things. And, you know, if I really didn't understand, if I really couldn't see something, we'd stop the truck and get out and look all around at all the different angles and everything. And then that would help me to visualize, to focus on how I'm seeing it in the truck and how it is in reality. And because, you know, it looks different to everyone inside the truck there, you know, and this is all judgment based. So this isn't something that you can just be super smart and do right off the bat. This is, you need the seat time to get the proper judgment calls on this alley dock to know if you're doing it right or not. And so anyways, I started getting a lot better after he did that, and then he started working with me on, I would get a little too cautious when I couldn't see the blind side and I felt like it was close to crashing. So he started working with me more on sticking through the backing more. And actually he pointed out, it just never even occurred to me that if my trailer is too far to the right as I'm entering, that I can still continue backing. If I turn the wheels all the way to the right, that it would move the trailer to the left. I knew that was the case, but anytime I get in that situation, it never occurred to me that I could do that and still have enough space. So that helped out tremendously for any time that I got in there and I needed to move the trailer to the left, because normally what I do is I just take a full pull up and basically reset, and that wasn't necessary. So that helped. And then just sticking with allowing it to continue unfolding when I was pretty close. I knew I'd be pretty close on my blind side. And normally I would take a pull up and try and reset, but he was showing me that I can actually just kind of stick with it. And as long as I'm cranked all the way, my wheels are cranked all the way into the fold, it's going to continue unfolding at a fast enough rate that I'm not going to hit the blind side, unless if I'm already far enough over, which you can judge by the distance between the line and where the rear of the trailer is. So I just need to focus on that and all of that. And so anyways, so I was feeling a lot better. I was able to put it in with, you know, multiple pull-ups and stuff prior to lunch. We took our lunch break, and that was when we found out, you know, we were just going to continue doing the alley docking. We only had an hour left. And I went first, and I went twice, and both times, boom, I put it right in all on my own. So I think the first time I did have to use 2 pull-ups, I believe. Yeah, I had to do 2 pull-ups, but you get 2 free pull-ups on the alley dock, so that's perfectly fine. And in real life, you get as many as you need. But for the testing, yeah, you have 2 that don't include any points. So I was able to do that with 2. And on the second one, that one, I actually only used 1 pull-up, but to get it, because all the way forward, my mirror was close to the line, and he said that the mirror couldn't be there. But then I was talking to one of the other students. I guess there was something going on between the instructor and one of the students. They were refusing to get in and practice, and so he was just trying to buy more time while he was arguing with them to get them in the truck. So so actually that time I basically pulled it in, didn't even need a pull-up. So looking forward to that next week. So that was pretty much where I wanted to be. Like I said, I was really worried about it on Thursday, not having enough practice and not being where I wanted to be, because I wanted to be able to understand the alley dock, even if I needed multiple pull-ups, but to just understand the process and be able to get it in there on my own. And you know, I feel like I'm actually slightly ahead of where I needed to be, or where I wanted to be now, and the road driving, all that's coming along fine. You know, I'll get the rest of that going. Have this whole week to practice. But the only other thing, you know, the only thing that I'm concerned about, and I'm not too concerned about, it's just I just need some more practice on it, is the offset backing, because I've only done that a handful of times. And so now that everything else is kind of lining up, now it's like, oh, I need to do some of that too. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of practice on that this week. And the good news is, finally, since there's another new class starting and they're going to be using this old truck, we're finally going to one of the newer trucks with the hydraulic clutch. So thank God, we'll be in that all week. And I believe we're going to begin practicing on the actual test course for our backing, so we'll get exposure to that and everything. So that'll be great. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this week. I feel like I'm exactly where I wanted to be, where my goal was, and maybe even slightly ahead of that. And really just now I understand the procedures, so I can just focus on practicing them this entire week and getting used to these one-off incidents that come up when you're out on the road driving, like you're using 2 lanes for your turn and oncoming traffic is still coming towards you. I had a tendency, as many new drivers do, to immediately start cutting back into my lane, but then what happens is you start getting closer to the curb, and you may not, you may touch a white line, which is an instant failure in the test, even if you don't touch the curb, and in your road test. And so what you need to do in those instances, and this is just stuff that you start getting exposure to when it randomly occurs while you're out there driving on the road, is if they're still coming towards you, you just come to a stop and wait for them to stop or back up or whatever needs to happen, and you continue completing your turn with all the space that you need, because you're a commercial vehicle that requires both lanes, and you are already in that lane, which you have the right of way in that position. So at least according to the instruction here. So yeah, so that's really the only thing that I'm like worried about, or not worried about. I just need to focus on, and I feel like all the backing's fine. I just want to get some more offset backing practice, and everything should be cool. So really looking forward to this final week, and then I'll be testing the 28th, which is the Tuesday after Christmas. So anyways, thanks for watching, and stay tuned, and pretty soon I'm gonna have all sorts of new videos going on with my training over at Fry Miller. So I will see you guys on the flip side.